Joe, why are you making so many videos about makeup? That's so weird. Well, don't you mean that's so queer? Okay. So a long time ago, back in like November, I think it was, I made a video where I was doing like a makeup tutorial and talking about like my daily like man makeup kind of thing I do. That makeup I feel like is very much of a dated style I did that was very makeshift and gross and disgusting. And so I figured I would do an updated makeup tutorial on just like everyday regular face, I guess. So I apologize that this foundation isn't my shade. I picked it out and I was like, oh, this matches my neck, but the lighting in the store did not tell all the truth in the world. So now I have foundation that doesn't match my face. At first, I started out by just putting on some Eucerin moisturizer because my dermatologist hit me up with that good kush for my face, and here we are. So I have to wear Eucerin because I use benzoyl peroxide and that dries out my skin. So I just moisturize my face with that, and I guess that counts as primer. Well, primer's a myth. Let me just say that right here. But, so I just started out with a bunch of foundation on this brush, and I have this little glass container that I pour the foundation into, so it makes it easier to get the brush. And, oh, let me pull my hair back first. Hold on. Where is my strap? There it is. Okay, so now once the hair is back and you look like a sex goddess, I'm just gonna put some foundation on my face. My tip is if you put too much in one spot, just evenly disperse it out and hope for the best, you know what I mean? You know what's a weird thing about me? Whenever I wear liquid foundation, my face always starts to burn just a little bit. It's the weirdest thing. I always like to put a little bit of foundation over my eyebrows too. Just like a light coat of it so I don't get that thing where it's like your natural lighter skin tone is just a highlight that's awkward and splotchy around your foundation shade. It just looks weird. Just go in on your face. There doesn't need to be a rhyme or reason because once it's blended nicely, it'll just do all the work for you. My nose is a very crucial spot because I have a lot of blackheads that I don't know where they came from because I don't touch my face a lot, but they're just there, you know? All right, now that I've just got a coat of foundation on, I'm gonna take my beauty blender and even the tone of it out. So let's go do that. This is a new beauty blender and this feels amazing. Pro tip. It's a really good thing to always get like a small little Tupperware kind of thing to store your beauty blender when it's wet, because then it'll grow mold after like a month, which is, of course, amazing. Yeah, so just never do that. And if you do that, just keep it open so it can ventilate, because then you're gonna get mold in your beauty blender and have to buy a new one, and it's just such a hassle. Also, I say it time and time again, and I really stand by it. The most important thing in your makeup bag is talent. Like, I hate to be very cutthroat like that, but the people that have the best makeup are the most talented at makeup. Even if they buy makeup from Dollar Tree or the highest priced stuff from Ulta, it really depends on how good they are at makeup that when it comes to it at the end of the day. See how my face is match my neck? It's called beauty. Okay, so now I'm gonna take some Airspun powder. You can get this from Walmart, and it's just glorious. Look at that. Look at that. That is a freshly cleaned cotton powder puff thing. It's beautiful. Slap it around like that, like so. You just slap it in. What I like to do is slap it on and then rub it in so you can spread it out amongst your face and not waste it too much. And there's always tons of excess on this, so just go in on it and use as little as you can. I always like to put an extra amount of powder near spots that I rub in a lot and I sweat a lot, because I mean naturally I just sweat more than the average human being, so I like to put a lot near my hairline and stuff and then just dust it off so it sets in there and really prevents it from melting the makeup off. And I also like putting it on the sides of my nose because I blow my nose a lot because my allergies are just terrible to me, so I try to prevent it from coming off too much every time I blow my nose. So now I'm gonna take a brush and just dust off all the excess. Okay, just take the brush and you just gently go over your whole face and get all the excess powder off. So moving on from that, I'm going to contour a little bit. So let's do that. Oh, doesn't my hair just look absolutely lovely? And that gorgeous hairline that shows my natural skin tone that does not match this foundation. So my sister hit me up with that good stuff one time and got me this NYX bronzer that she didn't want, and she lent it to me, so it's good. So I'm just gonna take this contour brush. This is Wet n Wild. I feel like brushes you don't really need to invest too much money in, usually. So this Wet n Wild brush, I suggest anyway, so it's really good. And I'm just gonna gently put the contour on. I feel like if you're going for like a full glam makeup look, usually you can kind of just go in on it, but with an everyday lighter makeup look, you have to kind of just be lighter with everything. So I'm just gonna put a little more bronzer on, try to even this all out. Let's go, tap tap. One thing you could do is also just stroke it in like that and then blend it upward. So you kind of pull your cheekbones up, or at least make some cheekbones that look like they're pulled up. So I'm just gonna accept my mediocre contour and just live with that. Okay, the left side isn't terrible. So now we're gonna head over to the bakery and bake our faces. So I'm gonna take more of this powder. My powder just went everywhere. So I'm gonna take this little plastic container off the top of here, and I'm gonna take my beauty blender and just tap it in. I'm just gonna dunk it in, tap it, and then create some cheekbone highlight and jawline and all of that. Makeup's great. Makeup's great. So then you're just gonna wait for about 1,000 years until all of this is done, and then you can actually get to doing more substantial stuff. So cool. I've been baking for quite some time now. Wait, take a moment, just listen. I don't know if you can hear it, but there's birds everywhere now. It's chirping, it's sunset, it's beautiful. Oh, God, I love summer. So now that I have the bake on for quite some time now, I'm just gonna dust all this beet off. You just lightly, actually not lightly, you just, with a little bit of thrust, you just flick it off. And I suggest doing this kind of makeup with the amount of powder I use with an open window right here, because all of it can vent out so you don't inhale too much of it, because it is a lot of powder. Alright, so now everything is contoured and powdered and highlighted. The last thing I have to do in terms of contouring and stuff is my nose contour. So I'm just going to take a little bit of bronzer lightly on my finger. And luckily with this bronzer, it doesn't stick onto your finger too much. It's a little more powdery, so you can kind of have a bit of leeway. And I'm just going to work over the ball-like base of my nose and try to match the skinnier portion that is this section up here. And also, with using highlighters and such, I can make my nose appear to be thinner. So now I'm just going to take my contour brush and dust it off and blend it all out so it doesn't look like I have brown lines going down my face. And also, a cool thing to do is to, if it's a flat, like if it's a angled brush like this, go on the side of your nose and just push that way. So it gradiates off to the sides of your nose and doesn't just remain two brown lines on your face. So moving on to the last does my nose contour look okay? Right. I gotta tell you, fingers are the best makeup sponges sometimes. Okay, so now I'm gonna brush out my eyebrows and then I'm gonna move on to highlight. I know. So now I'm just gonna take this angled brush here that's kind of meant for foundation or contour or something, but I just feel it helps in packing on the highlight. So I'm gonna do a combination of Summer and Moonstone. I'm just gonna put it on. I like starting right, I guess if you're trying to like gauge it and measure it, kind of right at the edge of my, like the green portion of my eye around my pupil. And then I just pat it around, basically up until it's even with the point where my eyebrow arches. Now I'm gonna do it on the other side. Look at that glow. Look at that glow. And I'm just gonna repeat the same thing on the other side. You could also just glide the brush too, just to really smooth it on. So now I'm gonna move on to nose highlight. I like using my finger. I don't know if you have a thin brush you like to use, but I just like using the Moonstone one because it's a little more subtle and just getting my pinky on it. I'm just gonna tap it on like that. And it may look crazy and bright now, but I'm gonna dust off the excess later. Okay, and then I'm going to make the arch highlight by going this way in this direction with the finger, and then going this way in the same direction but with this finger on the opposite side. So I'm just gonna smack my nose with the brush and dust off all that excess. Alright, and I just smoothed out my nose contour a little bit more because I noticed it was not really as subtle as I wanted it to be, so I just kind of smoothed it out with this brush. Alright, so I think that's everything. Yeah. Alright, so this is just my updated makeup look. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you around.